Today we are going to go over the French pronunciation for the Berlioz piece that we are performing. And I offered to make this video because I know it can sometimes be daunting when there are a lot of French words. So before we get started, I wanted to show you a few symbols that I created to help us with this and to be more phonetic for us to understand. So the first that you'll see is this upside down E. This upside down E stands for a schwa. And in English, this schwa is at the beginning of words like about. It's an A, but we say about. It's an unaccented syllable. In French, it's not going to be In French, it's going to be This is an example of when you want those lips to kind of stick out a little bit. So you're going to say and those lips coming out changes it from to. So kind of think book, uh, with your lips sticking out, So the next symbol you're going to see is this N with a slash through it. That indicates that we're making a nasal vowel. This is very famous in French, the ho. You've heard that before. The nasal is when the N colors the vowel that comes before it in the word. And it makes a slightly different sound depending on which vowel it is. So the real trick with nasal vowels is that the N is not pronounced. You might see something that looks like O-N. S-O-N would be son or sun in English, but son. But we don't say the N part. It's son. And the N doesn't happen. The tongue does not touch the roof of the mouth. Son. And so when you see this symbol, you're going to hear a nasal vowel. So this symbol, if you're familiar with German, is the German umlaut U, which has a specific pronunciation. The pronunciation is that you're going to make the sound E with your tongue inside your mouth. So start by making E, and then you're going to leave that tongue there, but you're going to round your lips into an U. E. That's the umlaut U. E. Make that E inside with your tongue. E, and then round your lips into an U. E. Now, technically, French does not have an umlaut, but that's the sound that the letter makes in French. And the last little note I wanted to give you is regarding the R. We are not going to say the American retroflex R like in rabbit. That's not how they pronounce it in French. We are also not going to use the Parisian R, which actually sounds more like the CH at the end of Bach. So Paris, we're not going to do that either. We're going to use the flipped R when we're singing in French. It's easier, and it also is cleaner to sing. How do you make a flipped R? It's actually almost a very quick D sound at the very front of your mouth. The tongue is gently going to tap the back of the teeth. Ra, ra. I don't know if you can see that, but ra. Paris would be Paris, Paris. And it's almost a little D at the back of, or right at the front of your mouth. Here is verse 1. So what you'll see here is the French, like is in our music on the first line, the top line, and then the bottom line is my version of phonetics for this. So you'll see that upside down E schwa and the strike through N for the nasal vowel. So this is Il s'en va loin de la terre. Il s'en va loin de la terre. Où, so just où dans l'étable. And this one's a little interesting. So the E with the accent over it is an A sound, but we don't want a strong A like we often say in English, A. We make the diphthong, the two sounds. We want it to be a clean A, like almost a Canadian A. And if you think EH, that might even be better. But où dans l'étable il vit le jour. So In French, when we're singing and sometimes when we're speaking, we'll combine two words. And in this case, because of the way the music is, the end of les tables, we're not going to say the bleu. We're going to combine it with the IL that comes after it. So it's les tables il vit le jour. So one more time. Où donc les tables il vit le jour. And so J's are this is kind of ZH sound, jour. The next line, de son père, de sa mère. And again, we are combining the père et together. The ET is a. So, de son père, de sa mère. De son père, de sa mère. Qu'il reste le constant amour. Qu'il reste le constant amour. Qu'il grandisse, qu'il prospère. And my end didn't get crossed out the way it's supposed to on this slide. Qu'il grandisse, qu'il prospère. Et qu'il soit bon père à son tour. So our père and a are going to be combined again. So père à son tour. One more time, the whole line. Et qu'il soit bon père à son tour. Now we have verse 2. On que si chez l'idolâtre. So if you were saying it all together, on que si chez l'idolâtre. On que si chez l'idolâtre. Il vient temps sont-ils à malheur. So this one's a little interesting. So the T that we would not normally pronounce at the end of vient is actually going to get added on to the A. So il vient à sont-ils à malheur. So here the U gets kind of slid through like a W in fuyons. Fuyons la terre marâtre. Fuyons la terre marâtre. Fuyons la terre marâtre. Revienne is because there's two N's, it's not going to be nasal. I like to try to make it nasal, so don't listen to me if I go nasal. Chez nous qu'il revienne au bonheur. Chez nous qu'il revienne au bonheur. Chez nous qu'il revienne au bonheur. Que la pauvreté du pâtre. Que la pauvreté du pâtre. Que la pauvreté du pâtre. Reste toujours cher à son cœur. Reste toujours cher à son cœur. Verse 3. Cher enfant, Dieu te bénisse. Cher enfant, Dieu te bénisse. Bénisse. Cher enfant, Dieu te bénisse. Dieu vous bénisse aux époux. Dieu vous bénisse aux époux. Dieu vous bénisse, rose pou. So X, normally we wouldn't pronounce it, becomes a Z and gets stuck onto the époux. So heureuse époux. But because it's coming off of Benissa, it sounds like bénisse rose époux. Que jamais de l'injustice. Que jamais de l'injustice. Que jamais de l'injustice. Vous ne puissiez sentir le coup. Vous ne puissiez sentir le coup. Vous ne puissiez sentir le coup. Qu'un bon ange vous avertisse. Qu'un bon ange vous avertisse. Qu'un bon ange vous avertisse. Vous avertisse. Des dangers planant sur vous. Des dangers planant sur vous. And that is everything. Thanks for joining me today.